Hi guys, I'm gonna just do a really quick tutorial on how to introduce a head halter or halty gentle leader head collar to your dog for the first time. This is a halty brand that we're gonna be using, but the methodology is sort of the same. It doesn't matter which brand it is that you're using. In this example, I'm going to show you how I would handle it with a dog who is not at all worried about having things sort of on his face or around his face, who's pretty confident and comfortable, and is not generally sort of suspicious of things. If you have a dog who's leery of things, who's maybe worried about putting harnesses on or collars on, or who takes a little bit of time to get used to new equipment, or is sensitive about things around their face, or generally sensitive to touch overall, or just a more sensitive dog, then you're going to want to slow this process down a little bit. And there are actually several steps that you're going to want to go through, hi buddy, before you even put this gentle leader or halty or head collar or whatever you want to call it on your dog's head, where you're going to want to make sure that the dog really has a positive association with it, feels comfortable having it around them, and is willing to kind of put their head in it on their own. And there's a few more steps. So there are some other videos that cover that. In this video, I'm just going to show you for your sort of typical dog who's not too worried about this kind of stuff, who's confident with having things on their face and who's not nervous about stuff. This is my pit bull Tank. This is his first, or one of his first few times having the gentle leader on, or the halty on. He is muzzle trained though, so he's really used to having things on his face and he's really comfortable with that process. He's also not tactile sensitive at all. That means he's not worried about touch. He's not one of those sort of sensitive, funny dogs who doesn't like to be touched or doesn't like to, you know, have things on his face and stuff like that. So we're going to show you how you would handle one of those dogs, because it's a little bit of a quicker process. It's still important though, with any kind of a head halter, before we start actually using it on the dog, that they feel comfortable with the equipment, they have a positive association about it, they feel good when they see it, they feel good when they're wearing it, they know how to move and they're used to walking around on it, and they also understand how to use it on the leash. So we've actually taught them how to follow the pressure of the head halter and how that's a positive thing, and sort of taught them the whole rules of using the halter so they don't just go out and feel this sort of stressful device on their head. First time they pull, it pulls down on their muzzle, and that might freak them out, and you're going to have a much different response from the tool if that's the case that you're dealing with. And it's also not fair to our dogs. It's important to our dogs and important as good owners and handlers that we make sure they're comfortable and happy with the equipment they're using. So there's my ramble about that. So let me just show you how this is going to work. Using my friend Tank. Come here, baby. Ready? Can you come over here? Maddie over here. All right, so I've got my head halter. I have done a little bit of preconditioning with this with Tank, so he does already have a bit of a positive association with the halter. I just wanted to make sure he was comfortable with it, and we did a little bit of practice to make some other videos. So he's pretty happy about this tool, and he's generally willing to approach it. As you can see, he's already trying to put his nose in it because he knows he's going to get cookies if he does. So if you were introducing this to your dog for the first time, though, and they had not done this before, we're going to first just sort of help them practice putting it on. So I'm going to take the halter, I'm going to hold it, back up buddy, I'm going to hold it, and I'm going to feed my dog a treat for putting his nose into it, right? And you can see how he's pushing his nose in, and he's getting a cookie for it. And then I'm going to take it right off again. Got my cookie, I've got my halter kind of open, I've got my dog, and he's just sort of having that on his face. So I don't want to do that too many times because I don't want my dog to start chewing on it or have it be annoying or hitting him in the face. So as long as they're kind of comfortable with that and you don't get a really freaked out reaction from the dog, you're going to move on pretty quickly to just putting the halter on so that you can get everything in place and get your hands out of the way and go to just start rewarding your dog. So I'm going to take my next cookie. I'm going to hold it out so that my dog can kind of push the halter onto his head. I'm going to take my straps and I'm going to attach it. If you have two people, you could have somebody continuing to feed cookies to your dog while you do that. If for the first time, it's not a bad idea to have somebody feeding the dog while the other person just reaches around and hits the straps. I don't have another person here, so I'm just doing it on my own. So now my dog's wearing his head halter, and I'm hooking this piece up just so it doesn't fly around. And he's pretty comfortable wearing it, but I'm going to feed him some cookies. So once I've put it on, I'm just going to make it a good thing. What a good boy for wearing this little thing on your face. He's not worried about it. If he was worried at all, if he was pawing at this head halter, trying to get it off, I would be feeding my treats a little bit faster and just sort of helping him have a little bit of fun and not worry about the fact that it's on his head. He is pretty comfortable, so I'm just feeding him a few cookies, but I'm still going to take it off pretty quickly. So I'm not going to leave it on for more than a few seconds. Off it comes. Unhook it all completely, and we're going to just take a little break. And I'm going to toss a cookie. Take a little cookie, show it to my dog. I'm going to toss it. And that sends my dog away. And now I'm asking him, I'm going to get another cookie out, get the head halter out, and I'm asking him, are you still comfortable with this tool? Do you want to come back and do you want to keep working, right? So I've thrown the cookie away. He could have chose to leave, and he didn't. He came back. He knows what we're doing. He sees the head halter. If he had been worried about what we were doing, he would have not returned, or he would have shown me some signs that he was stressed, and I would have known I had to slow this process down, right? So tossing the cookie away is helpful. So I put it back on again. Cookie for being so good. Clip the bottom attachment on. And again, we're just going to eat some cookies while we've got our head halter on. I'm not even asking him really at this point to move while he's wearing it. He would, like, because he's, again, used to having things on his face and it's not a big deal. But I'm just putting it on and letting him eat some cookies and just making sure that he feels pretty comfortable. Touch. Good boy. Wearing that. He does. Good boy. All right, so that's the stage that I'm going to stay at for the next few sessions, where I'm going to put the head halter on and feed the dog a whole bunch and tell them how great they are, feed at the rate that they need, right? So if the dog is a little bit more worried, I'm going to feed faster and take the head halter off quicker, and maybe I'm going to put it on and off a few times and continue to do that feeding. If they're calmer about it and feeling pretty comfortable, I'm going to put it on and feed those cookies a little bit slower. Leave it on for a couple of minutes total and take it off. And maybe not even a couple of minutes in the beginning, right? Maybe 30 seconds or so, but building up to a couple of minutes. Cookie, 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 cookie. What a great dog. Take it off. Do that a couple of times and we call that a session. And that just helps the dog learn to feel really comfortable having it on their face and the feel of it, the move of it, and everything else. And once they're pretty comfortable with that, we're going to start adding some movement. So now I'm going to show you guys what that part looks like. So I'm going to have the dog practice moving around and feeling that on their face while they look down, and it's going to rub funny, right? And that will sometimes make them paw. And we're just helping them get used to what it feels like to move around with this thing on your head and kind of what that looks like. So I'm going to show you that. In this video, you're also going to notice that Tank, I am not going to have the connecting strap on this head halter connecting to his collar. And not all head halters have this strap, by the way. Some do, some don't. I like this because it keeps the dog secure. If the head halter falls off, you've still got a connection to your collar and you're not going to necessarily lose your dog, which is really great. But this strap kind of waving around was bothering him a little bit, making him a bit nervous. So you're actually going to see in the video that I've got it kind of strapped up, so it's smaller and it's not connected to his collar. And we're going to work on that a little bit later because I don't want him to be feeling uncomfortable about that. All right, so now we're going to see Tank moving around a little bit, please. Come here, baby. You might notice Tank looks a little bit worried when I clip on that clip still. We're going to be working on that. That's one of the things that makes him a little bit nervous, the actual attachment. All right, so now I'm just going to ask him to move a little bit, right? Can you come and get a cookie over here? Good boy. Can you come and get a cookie over here? Good boy. Can you come and get a cookie down here? Good boy. Can you come and get a cookie over here? Good boy. Nice job. Good job, buddy. Boy. Can you sit? Nice job. Could you down? Good boy. Sit. Good boy. Nice job. Good boy. Nice job. So as he moves, the collar makes some jingly noises. It rubs on his face. Right there. Good boy. and he's getting comfortable with the feeling and the noise. Good boy. Nice job. Did you find it? Good boy. You find it? Nice job. You find it? Good boy. Nice job. So, how long that all takes totally is going to depend on your dog, right? And how they respond to the tool, how they feel about everything, and what their confidence level is, and all this other stuff. But I would say on average, you're going to want to spend, I don't know, several days at least sort of playing these games and just getting the dog really comfortable so that when you take that halty or gentle lead or whatever head collar you're using, when you take that out, your dog comes towards you and is wagging their tail and clearly says, all right, I like this tool. And at that point, we're going to start working on actually putting the leash on it and sort of using a little bit of that pressure system and teaching the dog how the tool actually works while we're working on a leash. But at first, I just want a dog who really likes it. So there's a lot of different ways that you can go about doing that. You definitely don't have to do it the same way that I did, but the takeaways are we want to make it positive for the dog. So lots of food or some play or something that the dog really likes paired with this new tool that you're putting on their head. Take it slow. Start with just a very short amount of time with it on their face. High rate of reinforcement. Take it back off. Short, frequent sessions there so that they can kind of get used to it. And give the dog a choice, right? Toss the cookie away, see how they're feeling. And if you toss that cookie away and your dog really looks at you and says, I don't want to do it anymore, I don't want to come back, then you're going to want to slow that process down some more and work a little bit on doing some more counter conditioning or building up a positive association or do something else to help the dog feel comfortable. But we're not going to just forge ahead if our dog is feeling nervous about what we're doing.